Hello gamers, it's that time again. It's the time where I build a fleet, explain how it works, and then I show you what it's capable of. But today, we built a special fleet because this one is also a stealth fleet. Down here you can see we've got a sensor profile of only 100, coupled with a sensor range up around 1300. Means that we basically always see the enemy coming long before they can see us. On top of that, every single ship has solar shielding built in, meaning that we basically ignore environmental hazards. You can drive right past a black hole and suffer no consequences. So for those of you who want to know, here are the player skills. I'm not really going to explain every choice here because I think they're fairly obvious. There's no really any need to elaborate on why I would pick phase quell tuning when I have phase ships. I think you can put 2 and 2 together with that one. So without further ado, I'll start going into each individual ship and explaining exactly why it is the way it is, with timestamps down below, so feel free to skip around if you're looking for something specific. So taking a look at the Odyssey here, let's start with the S mods. First off, insulated engine assembly. The way that sensor profile works is it counts the 5 ships with the largest sensor profiles and ignores the rest. For this reason, it's a good idea to get all of your ships up to around the same sensor profile. Phase frigates, like the Afflictor and the Shade, naturally have a sensor profile of 15. A capital ship like the Odyssey has a sensor profile of 150, which means that if you S-mod insulated engine assembly, that 90% reduction gets it down to 15, which exactly matches the frigates. On top of that, the combat bonus is actually pretty relevant to battle cruisers. 200% increased engine assembly makes it very difficult for enemies to disable the engines, and the engines of a battle cruiser are its lifeline. When they go out, you are in a lot of trouble. So that both the combat bonus and out of combat bonus are actually pretty relevant here. With solar shielding, the S-mod bonus increases protection from environmental hazards to 100%. Putting this on every ship in your fleet means that your fleet is just immune to environmental hazards and you can go wherever you want. On top of that, the combat bonus of 10% reduced energy damage is nice. Now, the repair unit might be a bit more controversial, but it's something that I like quite a lot because it allows you to play the Odyssey a lot more recklessly. When you're up against Remnants and they fire sabos at you, you can drop your shields and take the sabos on your armor. You might get a couple weapons disabled, but because of the repair unit, they come back online very quickly. It allows you to buy a very significant flux advantage in those situations. Speaking of sabos, you can see that I've mounted 3 of them in the weapon slots. If we go to weapon groups here, by default they're going to be set up like this. So you want to move all of the sabos into the same group, set the locust to auto fire, and set the plasma cannons to auto-fire, everything linked, like this. All you need to do is worry about when you fire your sabos. Because they have tracking, you don't even have to aim them, really. You just have to worry about when to fire them. Speaking of, plasma cannons are usually the best choice here. You can try a build with auto-pulse lasers and S-modded expanded magazines, but you still lose out on a bit of damage that you have to make up for with things like antimatter blasters on the nose. And while that does work, it does make the build harder to pilot because now you have to get closer to use the antimatter blasters and you have to aim them, whereas with this build you don't have to aim anything. Now the Locust is a great choice here for a few reasons. You don't have to manually fire it, you can just leave it on auto fire because it has so much ammo. That makes it a lot easier to use. It does good hull damage once the armor's been stripped off by the plasma cannons. And then on top of that, it helps clear out fighters. With only a 180-degree shield arc, that can be very useful. When it comes to the fighters, I've chosen a couple of Wasps with defensive targeting array. It's one of the cheapest options you can afford that gives you some pretty solid point defense. Now the small slots you generally leave empty unless you're putting some antimatter blasters in those slots. This is because the Odyssey benefits a lot from elite helmsmanship. Right? The elite helmsmanship bonus allows you to trigger the zero flux boost as long as you're not generating flux, even if your flux bar is maxed out. The problem you run into with putting point defense on the Odyssey itself is that any random missile or fighter that flies nearby, your point defense is going to shoot at it, and that's going to disable the helmsmanship bonus. So instead, it's a lot better to have your point defense come from your fighters because they're not going to generate any flux and they still provide point defense for you. This is important because the Odyssey needs all the mobility it can get, and being able to trigger the zero flux boost is not only possible in the Odyssey, it might be the ship that benefits from it the most because you can reliably trigger it in combat, and it gives you that little bit of extra speed and maneuverability in a lot of situations where you really need it. The other skills are pretty straightforward. Combat endurance to max out your combat readiness. Target analysis is just more damage, hard to pass up. Systems expertise, so you can use plasma burn even more. Energy weapon mastery to reduce the cost of your plasma cannons and boost their damage at close range. The most controversial choice will probably be impact mitigation. I prefer this vastly over field modulation, which would be normal for a high-tech ship, but in this case, there's a couple of things impact mitigation has going for it. Plus 50% maneuverability makes up for the lack of auxiliary thrusters, because the Odyssey really needs extra maneuverability, but we don't have the 20 ordnance points to afford auxiliary thrusters, so getting it from impact mitigation instead is very helpful. On top of that, minus 50% weapon and engine damage taken, combined with S-modded insulated engines, makes sure that our engines basically never go offline. The remaining hull mods are pretty obvious: expanded missile racks so you don't run out of ammo, targeting units so you have some decent range, and hardened shields for that extra shield efficiency. The Odyssey is a very fun ship to pilot, with fantastic hit-and-run capabilities thanks to its plasma burn. The AI doesn't use it very well, but it's the kind of ship that really allows you to have a high impact on the battle as a player, dashing from one skirmish to another, blowing up smaller ships, and flanking larger ships to deal lethal amounts of damage. I think I'll talk about the Shades and Afflictors together because they are very similar. The most important things are the weapons, Light Needler and Antimatter Blaster, Phase Anchor, and then to spend the rest of your points on capacitors. As you might have heard, the reason that we use Antimatter Blaster and Light Needler is because burst damage weapons perfectly suit the playstyle of phase ships. They like to drive up to the enemy in phase, pop out, fire their weapons, and then drop back into phase before the enemy can counterattack. When it comes to your other hull mods and your S mods, those are more of a luxury because the ship functions just fine without them, so you can pick ones that offer more utility or solve specific problems rather than focusing on making the ship more powerful. In this case, that makes it easy to pick solar shielding to fit in with the rest of the fleet. For the Pirate Afflictors, I went with high resolution sensors, which on the campaign level that it boosts our sensor range, which is nice, but the S mod bonus also makes them better scouts in combat, increasing their vision range, which is great because they're the fastest ships in the fleet anyways, so they're going to be out capturing points, making good use of that bonus. The last one I got is S-modded Repair Unit. This is specifically to help them against Dwellers, because Anemic Elimination can hit them with EMP damage while they're in phase, and the doubled repair time means that they can often get themselves into quite a bit of trouble with that. Now, I did say the skills were important, and this is where you're going to want to pick Helmsmanship, Combat Endurance, Field Modulation, Target Analysis, and Systems Expertise. This is true for both of them. Those 5 skills are very important. Helmsmanship for more speed, combat endurance, not only to max out the combat readiness, but the extra peak performance is important on phase ships, especially the frigates. And all phase ships have good systems, so systems expertise is quite good. But just as important is picking the right elite skills, because field modulation, the elite bonus, reduces their phase cooldown by 50%. Now, a 1 second difference might not sound like a lot, but oftentimes that's the difference between diving back into phase space unscathed versus eating a phase lance and taking a bunch of damage. The other elite bonus that's very important is combat endurance. Now, that repair is normally good on low-tech capital ships like the Legion or the Onslaught, but it does have a floor of 2,000 hull, which is more than these ships have by default, meaning that they actually can repair more than 100% of their hull. The problem is that because the repair speed is so slow, that for most frigates, this is never going to matter because they're never going to get that full repair value. However, phase ships do actually manage to pull that off because in phase space, time is tripled, and that includes the repair speed. And given that they don't have shields, they are actually very reliant on their armor and hull. Over the course of a battle, every time they unphase, they are going to take some chip damage. And that may mean that you lose one of them, or it may mean that you have to retreat them. But with combat endurance, they can stick around for quite a bit longer, and you don't have to worry about them. Now for the Afflictor, the last bonus I took is Energy Weapon Mastery, just to squeeze a little more damage out of the Antimatter Blaster. For the Shade, I went a little bit differently, because I took S-modded Integrated Point Defense AI. This converts non-missile, non-strike weapons into point defense weapons. So the Antimatter Blaster doesn't count because it's a strike weapon, but now the Light Needlers count as point defense. That by itself is not super useful, but when you combine it with the point defense skill and you get the elite bonus, that adds 200 range to point defense weapons. So combined with this S mod, the Light Needlers now have 900 range instead of 700 range. This means that the Shade has the ability to unphase at a safer distance when it wants to attack enemy shields. And not only that, but its EMP emitter, it benefits from both of these effects. Not the range bonus, mind you. It's not a weapon, so it doesn't benefit from the range bonus. I'm talking about the bonus damage. So this adds 50% to missiles, this adds 50% to missiles and fighters, so altogether the EMP emitter now does 100% bonus damage to missiles and 50% to fighters. Coupled with the extra range and rate of fire from systems expertise, and the EMP emitter gives it a nice protection against things like fighters and missiles that it can apply to the afflictors as well. This is why we're running an even mix of them. Afflictors with their entropy amplifier are potentially deadlier against enemy ships. However, they can be very vulnerable to fighters, so having some shades along with them that can shoot down the fighters, they work together nicely. Regardless, their main role in the fleet is to provide a little bit of extra fire support, oftentimes hunting down enemy frigates and capturing points, something that these do very effectively, but also able to harass and distract larger ships when necessary. And of course, the hot topic recently, the Conquest. Some people say it's weak now. It really isn't. It used to be the strongest capital ship, just purely based off of DPS. But now that enemies have stronger point defense, and the Conquest being very reliant on missiles, it no longer holds that title, but it still measures up very nicely against most other capital ships, aside from the one outlier. That outlier is the Onslaught 14. But aside from that, the Conquest measures up very well against things like the Paragon, against the Legion, etc., etc. Much like the Odyssey, we picked out S-modded insulated engines and solar shielding for the same reasons as the Odyssey. We've also picked out S-modded extended shields, getting that shield arc up to from 90 to 210. Sometimes it does point its shield slightly in the wrong direction for things like tachyon lances and fighters, so having that extended shield means that it doesn't make that mistake as often. For hull mods, expanded missile racks is a no-brainer when you've got all these missiles, integrated targeting unit, hardened shields, because the baseline shield efficiency is terrible, but the flux capacity is pretty good, which means that improving the shield efficiency nets you a lot of value, even though it's still not very good with hardened shields. Stabilized shields, because it's just efficient, you're paying 15 points and you're getting 240 flux. That's a good deal. Originally this was going to be accelerated shields, but I found that wasn't necessary, so I swapped it for integrated point defense AI. The triple burst laser on the left side gives it some solid point defense that can reliably shoot down things like Sabos and Reapers, whereas on the right side you've got this Devastator, which is mostly there to shoot down fighters that are attacking it on its offside. For the missiles, I went with double Gorgon and double Hydra. These things are nice because they're fairly affordable, they have a lot of ammo so the AI can spam them pretty easily, and they're accurate enough that they don't need ECCM. Now the Marine Barrage is pretty much always going to be double Mjolnir. Complementing that, you've got the Hypervelocity drivers with their respectable hit strength and EMP damage, and you have a main barrage that can really put the hurt on anything before the missiles even get involved. And finally, the IR Auto Lance is just a very efficient choice for a medium energy slot. It gives it a surprising amount of extra hull damage for a very low ordnance point cost and a very low flux cost. When it comes to the skills, Elite Helmsmanship to maximize its speed so it doesn't get itself stuck in bad situations. Combat Endurance to max out its combat readiness, Target Analysis for more damage. These two you're going to see on basically every ship. Elite Ballistic Mastery, because its main weapons are ballistics, and Projectile Speed has a pretty big impact on the accuracy of these ships. And every missed shot is not only wasted damage, it's also wasted flux. Elite Missile Specialization, because it has so much ammo that the extra rate of fire isn't going to burn through its shots even in an extended battle. So it basically just gives you 25% more DPS with no downside, in addition to the 10% bonus damage and all the other bonuses. Gunnery Implants. You might be able to swap these out for something else, maybe field modulation, I don't know. But 15% extra range is always nice, even if it's not necessarily the best choice. This is one I might experiment around with a little more. Of course, a cautious personality is also important, because you want to make sure that it fights from maximum range rather than trying to close the distance. And when it comes to weapon groups, I decided to experiment a little bit because something that's popular is mixing point defense weapons with your main barrage. Because the Devastator does count as a point defense weapon, if there's point defense weapons in the same weapon group, it won't shut them off. And for that reason, it'll keep firing even if it starts to build up soft flux. Which is good because normally the best way out of a tough situation is to shoot your way out. All of the missiles I put together in one fire group and have them linked together so that the AI is forced to just continually fire them whenever it fires the Hydras. Because it loves to fire these things whenever they're available, and now it forces the Gorgons to fire as well. All in all, the Conquest is a surprisingly reliable ship, as you will soon get to see. That's why we're running 4 of them in the fleet. And just as a little bonus, here's the Revenant build. It has a decent amount of cargo capacity and some pretty good fuel capacity, which you can further enhance by S-modding fuel tanks and cargo holds. Solar shielding as well, so that it fits in with the rest of the fleet. With 3 of them that have survey equipment, that's a big cost reduction on surveys, totaling 60, making it a lot more viable to go around exploring and surveying planets. And finally, insulated engine assembly. Not S-modded, but just regular, because by default it has a sensor profile of 45. Engine assembly brings it down to 23, so it only stands out by 8 points, which is really not too bad. Well, isn't that pretty? A neutron star and a black hole in the same system. Well, the cool things about this fleet, if we look in the bottom left, we can see, well, it's 25 right now because we're hiding in a ring system, but generally speaking, if we're driving around, we'll have a sensor profile of 100. Very stealthy, enemies have to get really close to see us. But on the flip side, we have a sensor range of 1,200. So we can see things from far away, but they can't see us. That's the first thing that's cool. The second thing that's cool is that we don't need any auxes. I mean, we can drive around at a burn of 18, no auxes required. In system, that'll get up to 20 with a nav buoy, and in hyperspace, that'll get up to 20 with hyperfield optimization. So nothing required there. On top of that, with S-modded solar shielding on everything, I can just drive past this black hole, and yeah, it has no impact. Because S-modded solar shielding says like solar corona and similar effects. This counts as a similar effect. Any environmental hazard like black holes or hyperspace storms, now they just have no impact on you. Can't really leave though. I'd have to use like transverse jump or emergency burn to actually get out of here because the pull is quite strong. Okay, it's Remnant time. We've got 1 Radiant, 2 Novas. What have we got? 233. Easy. So first things first, set these guys to search and destroy. And we'll put in a void order right up the enemy capture point, or the enemy spawn point. I will send 1 here, 1 here. And for this point, you can't really send 2, because the reason is if you send 2 to capture this point, then as soon as an enemy frigate approaches, even if it's just 1, both of them will leave the point to try and fight it. And then nobody's capturing the point, so that's bad. This is why we'll send the Power Deflector ahead a little bit, so it'll distract any frigates that try to come down here while the Shade captures the point. And the high-resolution sensors on the Power Deflector gives us a little bit of extra vision range. It's a nice little scout. Yeah, see, there it is. There he is. Normally, both of them would try to leave to fight it, and that's no good. You want to capture the point as fast as possible. Like so. Get that guy onto the field. Now we just want to start killing the enemy as fast as possible. Looks like we've got 2 Novas at the start. I don't know why this apparently this Glimmer... Oh, it's got a phase lance, so they're terrified of it. None of them are... Like, normally a Glimmer dies pretty quickly to 2 phase ships. But I guess the phase lance has got them both scared. If they can kill it now, please. I'm getting jumped by this guy, but I'll just drop my shields, eat the sabos. So now I'm winning that flux trade. Although apparently I'm still drifting forward. That was... Movement felt a little bit weird there. But, really? You still didn't kill it? Are you serious? You're joking. I thought for sure you'd have it killed by now. Like, all you need to do is unphase and, like, shoot it a couple of times. Even the light needlers would do the trick. Come on. Well, regardless, you just have to deal with it. Now, if I can get a little bit of fire support here... If I hit E... No, the problem is, if I hit E... See, engage would be a useful order, in theory, but the fact that it always auto-assigns a bunch of crap means it's kind of useless, because you can never choose what it assigns. Like, the only way to do that would be to set everything else to search and destroy specifically, to force it to choose one thing. Because I don't want the Conquest... I mean, I guess I'll do an eliminate, but I don't really want the Conquest to be that aggressive. It's not a good idea. Back up a little bit, and I'll vent here. Meanwhile, he is forced to keep his shields up because there's afflictors nearby. So I just get to vent for free. Oh, right. See, if you forget about it, then it's going to have some bad positioning. But that's... In this case, we're doing fine. It's one down. Ooh. Bit close, but that's fine. Some Reapers. Maybe back up a little bit here. He's not pointing at us anymore, so I can vent. See, how's everybody doing? I guess I'll cancel that. Yeah, you can see the Conquest, like, they're all streaming in like this, and they've got the Conquest gun line just pelting them as they move by. Phase Lance? Let's get you out of here. Don't want to deal with that slipping around my right side while I'm trying to fight things on the left side. Yeah, there's just too many enemies. It's kind of hard to focus. I do still have to worry about the Radiant spawning in. Oh boy, flash bombers. More flash bombers. That's a lot of flash bombers. Let's not get hit by that, because I really don't want to. Let's see, so the Radiant hasn't spawned in. And the Nova's coming upwards. I don't have any problem dealing with the Nova, but if I've also got to deal with flash... Okay, what am I even targeted on? I'll say it was our auto-targeting. That's fine. Getting rid of the Frigate is a fine option. Now I want to get rid of this thing. It's been a pain long enough. Oh, exposed flank. Get him, boys. Actually, you are completely isolated, being chased by 3. That's kind of unusual. Well, anyways, let's get some. Let's get the shades over there. I need you to start moving downwards, because the last thing I need is you getting stuck in the corner. Yeah, I'll eat that EMP damage because it will repair back up fast enough that it doesn't even matter. That's a repair unit for you. Where are you going? No. Where are you going? This way. That's not what I told you to do. Let's get you guys up this way. Let's get you to attack this way. Yeah, that's dead. Okay, yeah, that thing basically doesn't exist already. Where are you going? Apparently it just doesn't care. Alright. Fine, ignore my orders. That's fine. That's fine. It's not an issue. Yeah, see, there we go. Now, if you can just hang out with the Conquest, get a little bit of pressure off, that would be good. That would be very good. We'll get you to attack that, you to attack that, you to attack that, and you can kill that, you two can kill that. I'm going to move upwards. Paladin, don't care. Be gone. So we can cancel that at this point. Yeah, I think we can even cancel that. Yeah, and you see they've killed that. Excellent. Now we can start clearing out these cruisers. I think there's still... Or is there still a Radiant? A little bit hurt by that Tachyon Lance, but yeah, the Plasma King is back online. There's the Radiant. Yeah, okay, let's play it a little bit safe here. Yeah, look at that. Bye-bye. Let's get you to get rid of that. I think I'll send you to help over here. You're kind of in an awkward spot, but the Radiant doesn't see you. So, I guess it's fine. We'll send you to get more aggressive. Ah, beautiful range. I'll actually kill this. Yeah, seems good to me. Yeah, it does see that one now. So just pay attention to that while I back up. Yes, but it's caught between two conquests. Caught between a rock and a rock. A midline rock. Oh, well, now it's going to try and escape by chasing down that one. Oh, but the Reaper barrage... So it's maxed out on Flux, which could mean that like a torpedo barrage would overload it. But that's where the burst lasers come in. A simple torpedo barrage is not good enough. This is the battle cruiser style. Yeah, I think we can cancel these. Right, 'cause sometimes if you give your frigates eliminate orders, they will like get too close during the death and die to a cruiser explosion. Which is, I mean, as long as it's only one, it's fine because of phase anchor. But if multiple do that, then you are gonna have to recover some ships. In this case, we made it out just fine. No alpha cores? Oh, that's stingy. Well, anyways, that takes care of that. And here is where you can see the real advantage of the sensor profile we have. Sensor range 1200, profile 99. So if you see the sensor range on threat, they can't even see us. We can see them, they can't even see us. I can even do a sensor ping. Look, so we can see this guy. They don't even notice us. I just pinged him. This guy, oh, he saw us for a second, but now he's lost us again. And he's just going to keep going in that direction. I actually have to turn on my transponder just to get them to fight me. You think we can handle a couple fabricators? I think so. Alright, search and destroy, and set all of these to capture for the phase ships, and off we go. Now for this fleet, sensor jammers do kind of matter because we don't really have any ECCM or we have ECCM, but we don't have ECM naturally. So getting to both of these sensor jammers will max out our sensor rating. At least against threat, because they don't have ECM, but they are affected by it. Even if it's only half the impact than it would have. But that's, like, they basically get the effect of ECCM where they have the range penalty, but that's just to make up for the fact that they don't get ECM at all. So we just take this capture point. Assault unit, you say? Sabo. Oh, that's a lot of attack swarms, though. Can't get my plasma cannons. Yeah, I forgot I was not actually targeted on it. I was wondering why my plasma cannons kept shooting at other stuff. Alright, let's back up a little bit. Don't want to get hit by the Mjolnirs, but I do want to vent. Man, that fabricator is getting very aggressive. Are you trying to bait me? What are you doing, buddy? Looks like I got the armor on the front, although I do need to back up here. Yeah, the close range of the Odyssey, you kind of have to put yourself at risk to do any damage, where the Conquests can just hit the maximum range and slowly chip away at them. Like, oh, you're trying to spawn in a new assault unit? Sorry, the Mjolnirs have already taken care of it. Maybe I can get the Afflictor to kill that. That'd be nice. damage in. Back up a bit, because we're getting hit by a lot of stuff. Yeah. Oh, you want to come after me? Go ahead. Try it. I dare you. Yeah, that's what I thought. The Conquest gun line knows no foe it cannot defeat. The problem is now I would have to dive into the middle of way too many enemies to do any damage. And here's where you kind of run into an issue, which is I want to use the engage order, but it's going to auto-assign a bunch of phase ships, which I don't want. So I guess I'm going to switch it around. So now I'm going to, because the eliminate order will force, the Conquest will try driving closer, and I don't want that. So we'll instead set the phase ships to engage. No. Why is it choosing this one instead of any of these guys? That doesn't make any sense. It'd be nice if these orders would, like, check if there's enemies in between the ship and the target, but it doesn't seem like they do that. Well, I told you to engage at this one, but you guys are all shooting at the wrong target. So I guess I guess the engage order just does literally nothing. Because I don't want the Conquest getting closer, I just want them to focus fire on the Fabricator. A little bit of Void Blaster damage there, but we're fine. The time to vent, put my shields back up. Put my shields back up, I right-click, come on. Drive right through these with my shield. Don't even care. Sabo. Blam. Alright, yeah, you see, they just kill the enemies fast enough. Well, this one would like to circle around, but there's no room up here, so it can't. But, yeah, they kill the enemies fast enough that they can actually just shoot their way to the Fabricator. And that takes care of the Fabs. Now all we gotta do is back up a bit, vent, and now the enemies should get more aggressive because the Fabricators are dead, so let's just play it safe. Do want to eliminate the assault units. Let's hit him with some sabos. It's an overload. So that might be the last of the assault units. Vent here. Beautiful. Now it's just cleanup time. Oh, it looks... It's really my first time bringing power deflectors against threat. They look interesting when they get hit with the entropy amplifier, glowing red like that. I'm not used to it. Even with the Overseers potentially pulling them out of phase, you see the ships are doing fine. I do think the Asmata repair unit helps with that a little bit. Like, it doesn't stop them from getting pulled out of phase, but it does fix their engines immediately. Well, this one took a little damage. Well, I mean, that was pretty easy, and it was pretty quick, so it's hard to really complain if he traded a little hull to do some damage. Regardless, that takes care of that. Okay, it's 2 a.m. demon time. Let's go talk to some Ouija boards. 3 eyes. Oh boy, my favorite. Oh, you shouldn't have. Thank you. Yeah, we'll deploy all the big boys first. Have you guys escort the conquests. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Yeah, they deployed all three at the start. Oh boy. Not feeling too good about this. They might kill something. I'm really relying on the tendrils to get in the way at this point. Soul shielding does help. Where? Hello? Where are you pointing your shield? What? I don't even... Okay. Not sure what that's about. But that's definitely going to get him killed. Oh, you want to jump into me? That's fine. Yeah, because I think their jump is synchronized with the Maw, so if he jumps forward, they're forced to. Well, that's no good. Let's see if that works. It might work. I hope it works. Haven't got too much experience with this battle. Oh, no, it ran away. That's kind of good, but at the same time, if it runs away, and then I still have the eliminate order, then that's going to be an issue. Oh, 2. That's not good. Yeah, I do have an S-Mod repair unit, so I can get my guns back online, but inimical emanation is hurting. Please kill it. No. It's so close. Please. Please, sir. You are going to be in trouble, so let's get you out of there. Yeah, those inimical emanations doubling the repair time really got me there. Oh, it's going to dodge the Sabos. Okay. Ow. Whew. Yeah, that triple eyes, not my jam. This ain't my scene. Oh, and they're just venting, of course. Because the eyes have 100 speed. I think they're kind of ridiculous. Not the range and damage. You know what? Fine. Make an insane range and damage on one enemy. That's fine. It's unique. It's memorable. But they also have 100 speed, so they just outrun everything. It's a little bit too much. They just run away and vent. Like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I guess I'll just cry about it on the internet. Like a true gamer. Well, this is not looking too hot. Come on. Wow. I actually lived. Somehow all the phase ships are... Somehow everybody's still intact. That shouldn't even be possible at this point. There's 3 eyes. What is happening? I mean, this guy took a lot of damage, and I took a lot of damage. But, yeah, I was expecting this to go a lot worse. Yeah, normally I would do the... Like, if I was in the campaign, I would typically do the middle option, because you can get the rewards anyways. Yeah, there's the Afflictor retreating. That I don't mind. What's a lot worse would be one of the Conquests. Wait, they killed the Maw on their own. I didn't even have to do anything. Well, you can see my hull is below 5,500, which means that I'm living off of the hull I got from Elite Combat Endurance. Well, there goes that. Can I ram this thing? I can. Well, okay. Yeah, this is my first time taking this fleet against a triple I, and we just did it. It was a bit close. I think I could probably make it a little safer with more practice, but yeah, honestly, I'm kind of surprised. I guess that takes care of that.